Have you ever wondered why you keep getting stuck in toxic relationships, even though you know they're destroying you? The answer may lie in trauma bonding, a powerful yet invisible tie that keeps you attached to your abuser. Contrary to common belief, trauma bonding is not a connection between two people who have experienced shared trauma. It is a form of dysfunctional attachment, often present in toxic relationships, that causes the victim to develop a strong dependency on their abuser. The frightening part is that trauma bonding can be easily mistaken for love. Abusers often appear charming and sweet, convincing you they are your perfect match. But beneath that facade lies their manipulative and toxic nature. They may treat you terribly one day, only to turn around, apologize, and promise to change the next. This emotional unpredictability keeps you walking on eggshells, unsure of how to please them. They frequently vent their anger on you, making you a punching bag for their negative emotions. They isolate you from friends and family, leaving you entirely dependent on them. Over time, you begin to deny or minimize their abusive behavior, even making excuses for them. You feel emotionally numb and hide the toxic relationship from others. But first, let me extend a warm welcome to our community members. Your support is an incredible source of encouragement for us. I would also love to hear your stories about relationships in your life, as they can help us connect more deeply. Today, let's explore 10 hidden signs that can help you identify the storm quietly raging in your soul. This is a journey into the hidden corners of psychology, where we will uncover the truths about toxic relationships and seek the path to healing for ourselves. Sign 1. You feel like you can't live with them, but can't leave them either. Living with a narcissist is like riding an emotional roller coaster. From the very start of the relationship, the narcissist masterfully weaves a web of dependence, making themselves the sole center of your universe. They push away your friends and family, isolating you from other relationships, and convince you that only they truly understand and care about you. Over time, you become engulfed in this dependence, fearful of abandonment to the point where you can't imagine life without them. They know that by isolating you from healthy relationships, they strip away your power, leaving you entirely reliant on them. To you, they become everything. Despite enduring abuse, you stay because the thought of being alone seems even more terrifying. You're trapped in a relationship of your own making, feeling lonely even while in the arms of someone you love. When a narcissist senses the threat of abandonment, they unleash a series of manipulative tactics to keep you close. Some may use negative strategies, guilt trips, blame, or even threats to make you feel guilty or scared to leave. Fear of retaliation becomes an invisible chain binding you to the narcissist. Their threats may be direct or subtler, planting seeds of fear and isolation. If you leave me, you'll never find anyone better. Or, without me, you're nothing. These words pierce your mind like daggers, causing you to doubt yourself and fear a future without them. They've gaslighted you for so long that they know your vulnerabilities, precisely what to say to stir your fears, and leave you feeling trapped. Others, however, are more cunning. They may suddenly transform, returning to their perfect partner persona. They shower you with gifts, loving words, and caring gestures, as if you're the center of their world once again. You're drawn into this sweet vortex, reminded of the beautiful memories of the past, the fleeting moments of happiness that seem almost forgotten. You start doubting your decision. Maybe I was too hasty, or maybe they've really changed. Thoughts like, perhaps they've realized their mistakes and are trying to make amends, or what if this is who they truly are, begin to cloud your judgment. These thoughts make you hesitant, and before you know it, you're stuck in the toxic cycle again. You see yourself sinking deeper into the toxic quicksand, fully aware of the danger lurking. Yet, a strange force keeps holding you back, leaving you powerless to sever the ties. Even after the relationship ends, the emotional wounds remain, lingering like scars that refuse to heal. You feel hollow, lost, and like an empty shell. Despite knowing the thorny path ahead, you still long to return to the familiarity of the relationship, even as it destroys you. Sign 2. You live in the promises of tomorrow. Are you lost in a realm of promises where tomorrow always seems brighter than today? A place where the hurts and disappointments of the present are soothed by the illusion of a perfect future, where everything will be okay. He will change, he just needs more time, things will get better after we're married. These sugary whispers lull you into a dream of happiness, making you cling to an uncertain tomorrow. But wake up and look at the harsh reality. Is that tomorrow a real destination, or just an illusion? A mirage created by you and the narcissist. They skillfully paint a rosy future, sweetening it with promises that act like a drug, numbing your pain while keeping you hooked. Worse, sometimes it's you who imprisons yourself in this web of illusions, convincing yourself that he'll change, she'll mature, we'll be happy together. But life isn't a fairy tale. The tomorrow in a relationship built on promises is just an endless loop of disappointment. You keep waiting, hoping in vain, while the present remains stagnant. Next time, next week, next year. These promises lose meaning when the today remains full of pain. As humans, we naturally seek meaning and resolution. When a relationship ends without proper closure or clear reasons, our minds replay events and conversations, desperately searching for answers to why. This creates a whirlwind of emotions: anger, guilt, shame, frustration, or even longing for the person to change and become the dream partner they once seemed to be. Unfinished business often stems from broken promises and unfulfilled plans. You feel betrayed, hurt by the trust you placed, or worry that they are now fulfilling those promises for someone else. Doubts, jealousy, and a sense of injustice haunt you as you question yourself. What went wrong? Was it me? This obsessive rumination over the past becomes a toxic cycle that consumes your mind. You blame yourself for trusting them too much, or alternatively, for not trying hard enough. These negative thoughts trap you in a loop, making it incredibly hard to let go of the past and move on. Sign 3. They keep betraying you, but you always give them another chance. Do you often betray your own intuition, dismissing it in exchange for love and approval from someone else? Do they win back your trust with excuses, explanations, and apologies, even though they've broken promises countless times? Are you afraid of being alone, convincing yourself to accept the shattered remains of trust? Do you crave love so deeply that you overlook the mounting pain in your soul? If so, know that these scars aren't just pain. They're psychological trauma, holding you captive. This is no longer love. When betrayal overshadows reason and forgiveness turns into blind tolerance, you lose sight of your own worth. This doesn't just erode your self-esteem, but also creates a toxic trauma bond, trapping you between fragile hope and painful reality. You don't deserve to live in this anguish. Real love isn't blind sacrifice, and trust only holds value when it isn't warped by lies and betrayal. Freeing yourself from this cycle of suffering is the crucial first step to rediscovering who you are. Sign 4. They blame you for everything. Think about it. How does this person react whenever they face difficulties, stress, or sadness in life? Do they consistently blame you, criticize you, or even humiliate you, no matter whether you've actually done something wrong? Do you find yourself becoming the target of their unwarranted anger or relentless accusations? If your answer is yes, then unfortunately you are being turned into an emotional punching bag, a place where they unload all the negative energy they refuse to confront. You've become the invisible container for their unresolved emotions, sacrificed for their inner chaos and instability. Let's be clear, you are not their dumping ground. You are not responsible for their mistakes, failures, or dissatisfaction with life. Such a relationship is neither love nor support, it's emotional abuse, placing you in a position of emotional dependency without your realization. You deserve to be treated with respect and kindness. You are not someone else's emotional scapegoat, nor should you be the perpetual victim of their negativity. Real love is built on mutual respect and protection, not exploitation or destruction. If you find yourself stuck in this pattern, pause, confront the reality, and seek a way to free yourself before this toxic connection causes deeper harm. Sign 5. Your emotions become numb. You feel like you're living in a fog, where everything feels distant and unfamiliar. Smiles that once lit up your face now feel forced. Your once bright eyes have lost their spark, and your heart feels as cold as ashes. You've withdrawn, avoiding conversations that once excited you, and the world around you seems devoid of meaning. Could this be the price your soul is paying for a toxic relationship? When betrayal, harm, and abuse repeat endlessly, like waves crashing against the shore, your mind becomes exhausted. To protect itself, your soul begins disconnecting from your emotions, a defense mechanism against unbearable pain. You can no longer feel the hurt, nor muster the patience to confront fear or disappointment. Instead, you freeze your emotions, letting everything pass by in indifference and apathy. The light in your eyes, the passion in your voice, the joy in your smile, all now reduced to faded memories. And the saddest part? The person who caused this, who drained you of life, is the very one you poured all your love, trust, and dreams into. The one who once inspired you now leaves your soul numb and cold. But remember, this fog is not where you belong. This is not your ending. It's a wake-up call for you to stand up and find your light again. There is hope beyond this numbness, and you deserve to reclaim the vibrant, joyful spirit that's been buried within you. Sign 6. They are both the source of your pain and your comfort. One of the clearest signs of a trauma bond with a narcissist is feeling addicted to them, not just emotionally but psychologically as well. You can't stay away from them, craving their presence to fill the void they created in your heart. You long for their attention, validation, and love, as if without them you'd be lost in emptiness, insecurity, and loneliness. Tragically, they are the ones who cause this pain in the first place. They inflict wounds on you, yet make you dependent on them for solace, creating a toxic and paradoxical cycle where you keep turning to them for healing the harm they've caused. Narcissists are highly skilled at creating and maintaining this bond. At the beginning of the relationship, they might make you feel like the most special person in the world, fostering an intense sense of love and deep attachment. Gradually, however, they begin to control you through psychological abuse, criticizing, demeaning, making you doubt your worth, or even guilt-tripping you for wanting more from the relationship. They make you feel like you're not good enough or worthy of their love, but then, just when you're ready to give up, they offer a sliver of sweetness, a compliment, a hug, or a small act of kindness. These fleeting moments of affection keep you clinging to hope, thinking that if you try harder or love them more or change yourself, they'll love you fully in return. In reality, these gestures are tools to maintain their power and control over you. They convince you they are the center of your world, that no one else could make you feel as loved or valued as they do. At the same time, they are the very reason you feel hurt, devalued, and directionless in life. You're caught in the torment of loving and suffering, torn between wanting to leave them and fearing life without them. You become addicted to their comfort after every instance of abuse, but this comfort is fleeting and deceptive, only dragging you further into the toxic spiral. Sign 7. You constantly fear making mistakes. You feel as though you're walking on eggshells, living in a state of perpetual tension, carefully monitoring every word and action to avoid upsetting them. You start to believe that any dissatisfaction or abusive behavior on their part is your fault. You convince yourself that you've done something wrong, fallen short, or simply aren't good enough, and that this is why they're angry or distant. This mindset traps you in a cycle of self-blame. You keep telling yourself that if you could change your behavior, better understand them, or stop doing things that seem to provoke them, the relationship would improve. You take on the responsibility for fixing every problem, believing your love and patience can save them, but reality often shatters these hopes. Instead of getting better, things worsen. They continue their controlling, abusive, or manipulative behavior, using your kindness and tolerance to further tighten their grip on the relationship. Your efforts are rarely acknowledged. Instead, they might use your love and dedication as weapons against you, making you feel like you're never good enough and must try even harder to please them. You're stuck in a toxic loop where each attempt to repair the relationship drains you physically and emotionally. Over time, this erodes your sense of self. You lose touch with the confident, strong person you once were. Instead, you live in fear, self-blame, and confusion about your own worth. Walking on eggshells doesn't just hurt you, it strips you of your autonomy and makes you dependent on their emotional approval. Your happiness becomes tied to their whims, even as they continue to hurt you. Sign 8. You neglect your own needs and prioritize theirs. You find yourself sacrificing your time, health, and happiness to make them happy, even if it means enduring pain or exhaustion. You start to believe that if you can do everything to make them feel loved, comfortable, and secure, the relationship will improve, and they'll finally cherish and appreciate you. But the reality is often the opposite. Your sacrifices are rarely recognized and instead become an expectation. They continue to demand more, while you lose touch with your own needs and desires. The things you once enjoyed, your personal goals, and even basic self-care like rest and relaxation fall by the wayside. You may realize that you rarely or never ask yourself, "What do I want?" or "What do I need?" because your mind is consumed by what do they want or what do they need. This type of relationship leaves you feeling increasingly empty, exhausted, and lost. Neglecting yourself to please someone else isn't love. It's a form of toxic psychological dependence, often tied to trauma bonding. Instead of being met with mutual respect and reciprocation, you find yourself exploited, trapped in a cycle without an exit. Remember, this isn't your fault. These patterns indicate that it's time to reconnect with your inner voice and reclaim your identity. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward breaking free from this toxic cycle and creating a life where your needs and desires are valued and fulfilled. Sign 9. You feel uncomfortable when someone tries to help you see the truth. When family, friends, or others who care about you point out the toxic or abusive behavior you're enduring, you might not feel supported. Instead, you may feel as though they're attacking you or failing to understand your situation. Genuine advice, no matter how well-intentioned, can feel like a threat, as though they're trying to tear down a relationship you've worked so hard to protect. You might even find yourself defending your partner's actions, convincing yourself that others are misunderstanding or failing to see the good sides of the person you love. This discomfort often stems from a fear of facing the truth. When bound by a trauma bond, acknowledging that the relationship is harmful means confronting painful emotions like disappointment, loss, and betrayal. It can feel like admitting failure or that you weren't good enough to make the relationship work. Instead of accepting the reality, you may instinctively protect the relationship because it has become intertwined with your sense of identity and security, even if it's harming you every day. However, this discomfort isn't a sign that the relationship is right. It's evidence of the deep psychological grip the bond has on you. The people around you aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you break free from the cycle of suffering. Listen with an open mind, because sometimes the truth you resist the most is what you need to hear to begin healing. Accepting that the relationship may not be healthy isn't failure. It's an act of courage to protect yourself and reclaim the peace you deserve. Sign 10. You hide the problems in your relationship from others. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if everything were truly fine, why would you feel the need to hide it? You might unconsciously avoid acknowledging the painful truth about your love life. Or worse, you might be trapped in a toxic relationship you're afraid to admit, even to yourself. The need to protect your partner at all costs, even when they're the source of your deepest pain, is another red flag of a trauma bond. This dynamic often makes you feel an unshakable loyalty, even if it means sacrificing your own peace of mind. You may find yourself becoming defensive, even lashing out at anyone who tries to help or offer sincere advice. Warnings from loved ones might feel like an attack, as if they're trying to destroy your love, rather than recognizing that they're trying to protect you from deeper harm. When trauma bonds form, you may excuse their hurtful behavior by rationalizing it as temporary anger or blaming yourself for not being better. You might not even realize that real love never makes you feel afraid, insecure, or isolated from the world around you. Instead, true love brings safety, respect, and emotional support. If you find yourself stuck in this pattern, remember that facing the truth isn't giving up. It's an act of bravery to safeguard your worth and mental health. Don't hesitate to open up to those who care for you or seek professional support. You don't have to confront these challenges alone. Recognizing the signs of a trauma bond isn't just the first step, it's the most important one toward breaking free and rediscovering genuine peace. If you recognize yourself in these signs, don't blame yourself. Many people have been through similar experiences. The important thing is to acknowledge your situation and seek help. Remember, you deserve love and happiness. Don't let past wounds prevent you from finding a healthy relationship. Accept the truth that you're stuck in a toxic relationship and need to break free. Share your feelings with friends, family, or a therapist to get support. Learn to say no and protect yourself. Practice self-love by taking care of your physical and mental health and focusing on positive things. You are not alone. The journey to healing might be long and challenging, but never lose hope. With time, patience, and support, you can reclaim your life and find the peace and love you truly deserve.